there guys, XVive reached out to me and asked me whether I would like to review any of their products, and I said yes. So they basically gave me free rein to pick anything I wanted off the site, and they've got a lot of different wireless transmitter and receiver units for basically every application you could think. There's only two things you really need to know about a wireless unit. One is what does it sound like by comparison to a cable, and the other is how far can it beam the signal. So I'm going to give you 4 isolated examples right now. On the side of the receiver unit, you have an input and a true bypass and buffer switch. So I thought I would include this in the isolated examples. So the first example is going to be the wireless unit. Then you're going to hear a cable plugged straight into my rig, which in this instance is it's not my regular small fry burn unit. I'm actually using my Dude pedal by J-Rocket into my SV20 back here and then into an impulse response. So I put the cable straight into that. Any effects are just coming straight from Cubase. And then on the third and fourth examples, I'm going to plug the cable into this. So this is at the start of your pedal board. It has to be, obviously, because it's your cable. And one example is going to be buffered, and one of them is going to be true bypass. In the box, you get the 2 main units plus everything else you would need in order to make this work, which is, as it happens, not a lot. The transmitter has a folding jack, which means you can either use it straight or angled depending on your use case. It has an on-off and another switch that allows you to flick between the 6 available channels. You also get a physical manual, which is a nice touch. A lot of modern devices have an online-only manual. I much prefer this. You also get a 9-volt adapter for the receiver unit and a USB for charging up the transmitter. The other thing you're going to need to know is what's the range like, and for that we're going to need to take a field trip. Unfortunately, this is England, and even in summer it rains all the time, although it wasn't raining a few seconds before I started doing the test, and sadly it wasn't raining after I'd packed everything up and gone home, but it did rain at the time, so that was great. But I did find that it has quite tremendous amount of range. Now I couldn't go any further because the rain is coming down far too heavy at this point and my camera is not water sealed. But bear in mind with this range test that this is of course line of sight. If you start putting walls in the way, the range is going to drop significantly. Also bear in mind from a performance perspective, I can't actually hear what I'm playing. I'm just playing an electric guitar unplugged in the middle of a field, and I didn't even know what I'd recorded until after I'd gotten home. So maybe give me a little leeway there.
Freaking wet for this.
I thought I should just quickly explain to you how I was able to do that field recording in case you question its authenticity. So I use the Sonic 8 Pocket Master, which is a battery-powered multi-effect unit. I've done a full video on this. It's actually really good, and I've been using it for a lot of my solo gigs. You've got all of your standard effects, amp modeling, IR loader. You can even do NAM captures with it. It's got a tuner and a looper built in. Pretty nifty device, and it's only 49 quid. Absolute bargain. And as I've just proved, it's also waterproof. I recorded that into my Tascam DR40. You've got a couple of XLRs or jack inputs on this one as well as the mics. And then in order to power this, because of course this only runs off 9 volts, I used my Rockboard sort of rechargeable pedal power source thing here. And that was how I was able to do that in a field. What's neat about this particular unit is that it also doubles as a tuner, which is a great space saving on a pedal board. And the tuner's great. It's somewhere between one of those Peterson Strober Stomp things with a spinny jobby that I don't know what it's doing, and a regular tuner that I can understand with just a center marker and the fact that it goes green when it's in tune. There are a couple of other neat little touches on here. One of them being the USB output for charging the transmitter unit, which is pretty cool. Now this receiver can only be powered off your pedal board, but they have given you the option of 9 and 12 volt. I'm guessing that's probably for more headroom. But the idea that you can charge your transmitter up, in case you've maybe forgotten to do it before you get to the gig, you could do that at the time. That's a pretty neat touch, although it wouldn't be useful to me because I only get to my gig 10 minutes before it starts, so there wouldn't be enough time for that malarkey. So we're back with an even bigger field here. Now I'm going to do some jump cuts because otherwise it's going to take too long to get through this segment because I go so far from the camera. So I think that's already exceeded the range of the previous test, and I'm going to go even further away here, and this really is quite amazing that you still get a usable signal. Now you may have heard a few little artifacts starting to creep in there, but for the rest of the test we exceed its maximum range. Now obviously that's no longer usable, but I didn't know that, so I went even further. Clearly this is just noise at this point, but it's sort of impressive to me that we're getting any signal coming through at all. I mean, I'm just a speck on the horizon, and in fact it takes me 3.5 minutes to walk back to the camera from where I am on screen. So I would say the usable range is probably about a minute of walking time. So however far you can walk in a minute, you'll still be able to use this device, which is absolutely crazy. I'm doing the summary after having done the second of the 2 range tests, which I thought was incredibly impressive. That's quite a distance, and just to know that you've got that is going to give you a lot of confidence if you're using a wireless unit. The other thing that I thought was incredibly impressive was the sound. Now you will have noticed in the intro jam that I had 2 letters on screen, an A and a B, and the reason for that was that with one of the letters I'm playing a cable, and with the other one I'm using the wireless unit. And I'm not going to tell you which way around they were. And the point that I'm trying to make is that there's no way you would know in context, in a live environment with a drummer smashing his cymbals, and even on a recording, although let's face it, you're highly unlikely to use a wireless for a recording. But in a recording, in context, there's no way that you could tell the 2 apart. I'm sure that if you did the audio equivalent of pixel peeping that you can tell the difference between a cable and a wireless, and you might be able to feel it. But for all intents and purposes, I think they've done a really great job with the sound. If this is too expensive, please check out the XVive site, and as I mentioned, they have a whole bunch of different options for you in regards to wireless units. and I'm sure that they've got something to accommodate most budgets. I want to thank XVive for sending this over. I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, or at the very least got something out of it, and I will see you in the next one. Later.